Have you all seen or at least heard of the movies Shang-Chi, Mulan, or Turning Red? Well, these are some of the latest films that major film industries, Disney, Marvel, and Pixar have created. And there's one thing in common with all three movies. Can you all guess what it is? Yes, yeah. They're all based on Asian protagonists and heroes. And before I express my opinions regarding these movies, I would like to state that I realize the truly awesome intentions behind these movies. I fully appreciate the immense amount of effort the screenwriters are putting in to alleviate racism and stereotypes regarding Asians. I really do. But here's the thing. Consider Turning Red, a sweet animated movie about a Chinese girl's adolescence. In this movie, the protagonist, Mei Li, lives in a temple and in a neighborhood with red lanterns adorning the skies. Do you see a problem here? Do you live in a temple? Do you live on streets that screams Asian culture like all over them? Yeah, no, probably not. Well, at least I don't, and I think you don't either. And modern China is, in fact, the #1 nation with the most amount of skyscrapers globally. Living in temples are largely a thing of the past. And today, most citizens live in towering apartments or 2-story houses, not in temples. See, the thing is, in an effort to be inclusive and portray Asian culture in the film, screenwriters have gone way over the top to the extent where the whole film is practically infused in the culture. I believe this is even more so because the vast majority of the directors of these movies are partially Asian and not fully Asian. This is including Turning Red's director, Domee Shi, who is Chinese-Canadian. In fact, the director of Shang-Chi, which is a Marvel movie regarding a ethnically Chinese superhero, is directed by a Japanese-American. And Mulan, the recent live-action movie about the Disney princess warrior, is directed not by a person who is Asian, but someone who is white, Nikki Caro. She isn't Asian, she's white. And I believe that this contributes to the overemphasizing of Asian culture in these movies. Because I think that they may be viewing the region as a wondrous fantasy land because they have not lived in this region of the world every day like us. And they think everything is fascinating, and subconsciously disregarding the fact that most Asians do not live in an environment with so many cultural aspects in it. And of course, we can never be as well versed in culture as the people who actually live in the environment, and consequently, these directors tend to overemphasize Asian culture in films. For example, do we see American superheroes talk about, say, Christianity 24/7? Do they live in churches? Like Asian heroes are shown to be living in temples? No. Then why are Asian superheroes and protagonists always so immersed in their culture to the point where their whole life revolves around it? Can Shang-Chi not wield a gun? Is he a bad shot? Why does he always fight in Kung Fu? Because of these reasons, I believe that movies like Turning Red and Shang-Chi can, in fact, reinforce stereotypes such as all Asians are very religious and live in temples, or all Chinese people fight in Kung Fu, and aggravate racism rather than alleviating them. In other words, our society is reconstructing the walls that we are aiming to break, mending one crack after another with these stereotypical films. Again, I, as an Asian, appreciate that large film companies such as Disney and Pixar are trying to be diverse. However, when Asians are portrayed a certain way in movies, that is the way that the most of the world will view Asians. And when it is not an accurate portrayal of ourselves, it can be quite irritating. I believe that the core goal that our society is trying to achieve is when Asians or any other race in society can be interchangeable in novels and films. But to achieve that, screenwriters have to take into consideration that the majority of the population do not live like the Asians in the movies and instead deliver an accurate portrayal of Asian life and recognize that Asians do not live like the Asians they represent in their movies. For example, Mei Lee's parents are nothing like my own. They are not forcing a certain way of life onto me, nor are they the infamous tiger parents or controlling parents that are often thought of when referring to Asian parents. And audience members can also promote accurate portrayals of different races of people. First, do not believe everything that you see or hear, and question the information portrayed. Then, research whether or not the description of people or their culture is correct. If the information is wrong, let other people know. And if you observe someone holding an incorrect prejudice, politely correct them. I remember when I used to believe that all Americans lived in grand two-story houses with big, green, and lush lawns. And it wasn't until my parents rectified this belief that I realized the truth. And it helped immensely. I would hold countless wrong prejudices today if no one has ever corrected me in my life. That's why we must stop building barriers that we try to break, even if it is unintentional. Because how will the walls come down if we keep building them back up again and again? Thank you.